Update. Special report with Carrie Harrison.
Carrie Harrison with you. And with me is Keith Molter, who is in Los Angeles also, who has a bit of a harrowing story. We're going to do sort of a short one, but he's going to explain how he escaped. And he's right in Hollywood, which is different from what you watch on TV. This is sort of not that. It's an actual city within the 67 cities of Los Angeles. Everybody sooner or later had to evacuate. And Keith, tell us a little bit about your story. You used a bicycle.
Yeah, I did. I worked for a major grocer, a retailer here in the city, and I was at work, and a boil water. I'm a assistant manager of a produce department, and a boil water notification came over the emergency broadcast system. So I went to go talk to my assistant manager at the store and mentioned that this might not be a good thing to have the store open with, because we do have a deli and all of that kind of. And long story short, she had this panic in her eyes, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "My daughter just called. We have to evacuate." I'm like, "Well, where are you?" And then all of a sudden, an evacuation notice came over everybody's phones. Which, if you're not familiar with that emergency broadcast system, it's like a symphony of phones all going off at once, and everybody literally stops in place and does this. And I didn't because I was concerned about my manager. But long story short, we're trying to get her out of there, figure out a way to get her out of there. And one of my teammates comes up and shoves the phone in my face and says, "I think you should see this." And it was my street. And I went, "What?" And I'm like, "I'm out." And I instantly got out, instantly took off and got out. And it was so windy on my bike. I had to bike home. Now, mind you, it's all slightly uphill all the way to my apartment. And I think the thing that jumped out at me the most that sort of stopped me in my track, it didn't stop me, but it propelled me and stopped me in my tracks emotionally, was the color of the flames. They were this magenta, purple, pink, bright thing, and the entire hillside was lit up. And I just started pedaling as fast as I could. And I don't know if it's a defense mechanism, but I kind of went into this sort of observational mode at the same time as participating. And I was biking home and came around the last corner to go up the hill to my apartment. And you know that thing in the movies where the streets get really long and you can't go fast enough? It was that. And there were cars everywhere and gridlock and smoke. And people were walking with suitcases literally in the middle of the street, despondently, kind of walking and turning and walking. Nobody seemed to know where to go. I mean, there was a woman that was coming from the other grocery store towards me with a brown bag and a bottle of wine in there. And that's all she had. And
That's
I'm like,
kind
okay.
of a normal day in that neighborhood.
Yeah, in Hollywood, yeah. And I'm like, that she's going out the way she wants to go out is what it was what I thought. But getting to my apartment, you got to get in and you got to get out. And I said I would do a go bag, but I didn't have a go bag ready. So I'm packing everything up and I'm on the phone and I call my mom and I'm like, "Mom, I got to get out of here. What am I forgetting?" And we went down the list and I had everything. And then she's like, "How about your laptop?" And I'm like, "Oh God, yeah." The little things you don't think of.
Right.
Because
we're hearing these stories of everybody trying to figure this out, the go bags, and, take your important documents. And you've actually never in your life thought about, what are my important documents?
Right.
And that would be a passport, birth certificate,
social security card,
all of those things. We need to start keeping these together in a plastic sheath of some sort, and all of that stuff ready to go. So go bag is actually a real thing. And you're one of the people that have experienced it. Let's talk a little bit about the air quality, because when things go up in flames, and I'm not talking about the chaparral or the eucalyptus trees, I'm talking about all the houses, all their electronics, cans of Raid, all of that aerosolizes, and everyone is now aware of that. What can you do about that?
Well, they're telling us to wear N92 masks when we go outside. It's so clear. It looks so clear and so beautiful right now that I don't see a lot of people doing it. I do it when I get on my bike and commute back and forth to work. When I'm inside work, I don't have it on. I probably could, not to shame myself, but I could. The part that they're drilling home, at least on the local news, is although you may not see the traditional ozone particulates in the air, the colored smoke, if you will, in the air, it's the invisible stuff that's out there. And that's exactly what you're talking about. The toxins in all the wiring, I mean, these houses are not just wood; they're metal and electronics and like you said, that's so I wear my mask, my N92 mask. That's the best I can do.
So really and thank you for coming on last second like this, but sharing this with everybody. I think now more than ever, we do really have to pay attention to the causes of these things. There are a million conspiracy theories out there,
Well,
10 million, probably
if
by
I could
today.
say, if I could say one thing, and that's been the most emotional part for me is hearing the blame being placed. Hearing certain politicians say, "Well, conditions need to be placed if we give help," when in when we've provided for other states with an open heart and open checkbook to make sure everybody gets taken care of. But yet, for some reason, in California, they're saying, "Oh, well, you somehow caused this. You're somehow responsible." I'm 60. I don't look it, but I'm 62 years old. I have grown up out here. I have never ever seen anything like the wind and the what was going on. I've never seen anything like that. And I grew up in fire country up in Ventura County, and I have never seen wind. I have never seen fire do what it did, and I'll stand by the fact that they could have had a fire truck for every single house, and there's no way they could have protected them. Absolutely no way.
I
It
think
was
it's the same.
global warming at we were
Yeah.
warned 50 years ago as they were burying President Carter. At the exact same time, this fire breaks out, and it's like he warned us 50 years ago about all this. And yeah,
And
that's my little soapbox. But that and also the love that came in. I was contacted by people that aren't particularly fond of me, and some of them that I'm not fond of them, but they reached out and they cared, and I feel loved. This city is great. This city is in deep pain. It's deep pain, and it's not one group of people like rich people that are affected. It's everybody's affected. Every single person.
yes, everyone is tethered together. The workplace, people's employment, your person that works for you might live over here, but you live over there. It's a body. It's actually a body. All the streets are veins and blood vessels. The infrastructure, it's all like one living organ, and it's now been affected. It does tend to bring people together, wake them up maybe for the first time ever after living there, that they are interconnected. We saw this on the East Coast within the last 6 months, two category 4 and 5 hurricanes,
Yeah.
1 week apart, hitting the same spot, same reaction, same response, same new level of awareness. So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for talking about this stuff and helping people wrap their heads around it if they're not in LA, what this is like for you, and wishing you all the best. I'm glad you got clear skies today. Let's
Yeah,
hope they stay that way.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Thank you so much for having me on and allowing me to share.
News update. Special report.